Hello everyone, it is me. I am back with another video, and today I want to do something special. I want to draw some mermaids because it's Mermay, and I haven't drawn a mermaid since last Mermay, so why not do it in a video? I always like to draw at least one mermaid every Mermay. I don't think I'd be able to do it for every single day of the month, but one is enough for me, and that is what we're going to do today. Alrighty, so I reckon I'm just gonna start off with some sketching, see where it takes us, because I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to draw today, but I think that I want to draw Adair as a mermaid, because I think he'd be adorable. So I'll do some sketching, see what I can come up with. So originally I was going to make this a thumbnail, but as you can see, this ain't no thumbnail. This ended up being the final product because apparently I'm just incapable of thumbnailing. I don't know why. And you can probably hardly see anything that I'm drawing right now, but I decided to draw Adair as a beautiful mermaid, and then I thought to myself, I said honey, you cannot just draw Adair as a mermaid. You have to draw him with Emilio because those two are inseparable and they would look gorgeous together. So that is what happened. I struggled a little bit with Adair's face for some ungodly reason. I don't know why. I've drawn it a million times, but for some reason it just looked a little off to me and I don't know why. But I think we got there in the end, and oh my god, let's talk about Emilio's pose. I just love it. I don't know why I love it, but I do. He's like leaning forward. It's not that difficult, but I thought that it would be more difficult than it was, and I was proud that I just got it first try. No reference. Everything was amazing. So happy. And it was at this point that I started thinking, these two are looking a little bit bland. We gotta bedazzle them. So I experimented with a crown on Adair, but it was a little too fancy, so I later erased it and made something a little more subdued and gave them matching crowns because I think that would be adorable. And then from there, you could not stop me. I started bedazzling them. I started giving them like bracelets and necklaces. I started bedazzling like their scales, like you know how you see dragons with like jewels in their scales. I was like, hell yeah, we are encrusting them with jewels and it will be beautiful. Sorry about that, got a little carried away there, but as you can see now we're putting in the jewels. I kind of was just scribbling at this point and hoping to God that when I went to line it, I would figure it out. I do that too much. My sketches are often really loose and I'm like, yep, future me with that line art. They're gonna figure it out. Got faith in you, future me. And I feel like their tails, I don't know, I've always struggled with mermaid tails for some reason. I feel like they don't look bad, they just, I don't know, they could be better. They could be more mermaidy, I don't know. And I decided to put like a little background, nothing too fancy, but just a little something to add some interest at the bottom there. And yes. Alrighty, so that is the sketch done. We've got Adair and Emilio being mermaids with all their jewels and shells and all that good stuff, and it's gonna take me forever to outline it, but it should look pretty good in the end, hopefully, I don't know. So without further ado, let's get into the line art. Bam, straight into it. Lining them faces, looking beautiful, and I was kind of scared. I was kind of terrified of this line art because I was like, past me, hold up, what did you do? What did you do past me? You left me to figure this out by myself. I can't believe you. But I got there in the end, and I think that they ended up looking so cute. I just can't even. I can't even. Emilio is the sort that even in like the canon story, he wears a lot of jewelry and gold is his color, and I was like, we're gonna pass this on to Adair because Adair needs jewelry too. Emilio can share his jewelry, so we're gonna bedazzle Adair, and I feel like he's low-key really happy that he's bedazzled, and he's like looking kind of nervous about it, but he's fine. He's adorable, and he's like, oh, look at all these jewels. Oh, where did all these jewels come from? Oh dear. And ooh, say ooh, Emilio's nip is just there, and I was like, wait, do I put Adair's nip? Is Adair's nip covered? Is it out in the open? So like, I don't know, it feels like there should be a nip there, but then at the same time I felt like if I put it in, it would look wrong because his arm is kind of covering it, but I was like, I just don't know. So he doesn't have a nip. I don't know if there's meant to be a nip there, but it's not there. So that's that. And then I went in and started doing all the bedazzled bits, and that was kind of hellish because past me, like I said, just left it for future me to figure out. And I bedazzled them a lot more than I was going to. I was just gonna put like a couple of jewels on their hip or whatever, but I ended up like almost covering all of them in jewels, and I had to like stop myself before it got out of hand. And then the mermaid tail, I feel like they're not as bad as I thought they were, but like I see some people that draw mermaid tails and I'm like, oh my god, that is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life, girl. Oh, I've been watching too much of Lisbeth, that channel, what's it called, is it like My Mangaka Life? And I'm like, I'm living for her videos, but it's taking a toll on me. There we have it, and then just putting some random corals in, looking gorgeous, doing some seaweeds, bam! So there we have it. The line art is done, and I must say, it looks a whole lot better than I thought it would, and I'm very excited to color it. Kinda scared to color it because I don't want to mess it up, but let's get into it, let's just see what happens and hope for the best. The final stage. I decided to use watercolor for this one, and oh my god, girl! Huh. I've lost the ability to mix colors with watercolor. It used to be like the easiest thing ever for me, but the last time I used watercolor, y'all were there for that. I will link it in the eye because you saw the last time I used watercolor, and it was a long time ago, and I just forgot how to mix everything. But I feel like we got there in the end. It just took like a couple extra layers and a lot of tissues, but we got there. Emilio's skin tone used to be so easy for me to mix, and now I was like, oh my god, how do I do this? Ooh! I think he looked pretty gorgeous in the end. Emilio always does. He's just that kind of guy. He always looks gorgeous no matter what, and I can't believe it. And then I did something different here with Adair. Usually with watercolor and light skin tones, I usually just do the shading and like leave the light bits the color of the paper, but I was like, no, that's not how we're doing it anymore. So I just covered him in a skin tone, and I was like, but it worked, and it was fine, and it was great, and I loved it. There shall be no more of me being scared to add a skin color to a light skin person unless their skin is literally paper white. And then just adding a couple of details in, looking good, looking great. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm running out of things to say. I've still got so much time left. This whole voiceover thing, it's a lot easier for me to edit, but at the same time, like, you hit a wall at a certain point and you're looking at the video and you're like, man, I still got so much time left, and I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I have no script. I don't know. And then we got to the tail. I tried to do some kind of gradient thing, but obviously this isn't watercolor paper, so gradients are hard because you have to like, usually you'd like saturate the paper and the water would sit on top nicely and you'd do a nice little gradient, but this paper was like, what are you doing to me, please? But it worked in the end, and I like the colors that I chose because I just, pink, like magenta and orange in a gradient, it is like to die for. That color combination. And then I had to do all the little details, and I was just like being really messy about it. I should have been neater, but my thought pattern was I can go over it with like gouache or gel pen later. Then I got lazy later and I didn't do that very well, so yeah, that's a little messy, but we get there in the end. It's fine, just stick with me on this one. And then I thought, what color should we do for Emilio's tail? What color would go nicely? And I thought that mermaid green, that little mermaid, what's her name, Ariel green would work for him, because it like contrasts Adair quite nicely, and yet it still works with Emilio's skin tone. Every color works with Emilio. Every time I draw Emilio, I put him in like random clothes. He looks good in everything, and I don't even intend for that to happen. Like, I cannot make Emilio look bad no matter what I do. It's just impossible, and it scares me, but in a good way. Then we're going in, adding details to like the jewelry and all the jewels and things, using some nice purples, and then I was kind of thinking, what other colors are there? I can't think of any other colors, so that's where I was at there. But we got there eventually, coloring in the little heart because they love each other. Spoiler alert, they're in love, if you hadn't guessed it already. And then I decided to go in the background with this nice blue, and it was difficult because once again this paper is not watercolor paper, so she was struggling a little bit, but she got there in the end. It's a little bit messy, and it ended up being a gradient kind of when I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be like a flat color, but I started running out of paint and like thinning it out more and more with water, so it ended up kind of like a gradient. And then I decided, like, because it was kind of rough around the edges, I was like, yeah, we'll add some water texture and make it look like I intended for it to be rough. And that's the beauty of traditional art. Things don't go your way and you're like, I meant to do that. That's texture. That's not a failed gradient. That's me intending texture right there. And then down the bottom, using like a darker bluey color for the coral and everything, so that it doesn't stand out too much, but there's still something going on down there, you know what I'm saying? And I was going to add like a seahorse or some fish or something, and I just completely forgot, and then by the time I remembered, I was like, well, the whole background's blue now, so I guess I can't really put anything on top of it unless I use gouache, but I couldn't be bothered, so there's that. And then peeling off the tape, bada bing bada boom, the most satisfying part of the entire video. And it didn't rip this time. Usually it rips, but this time it didn't, and I was so happy that it didn't rip, because that would have been a disaster. And then I tried to add like some embellishments with gel pen, and then I used like other colors as well as gold, and they didn't look so good, so I think I ended up going over those with white gel pen and being like, let's not have like fluoro green Posca on here. Like, what was I doing there? But anyway, we fixed it in the end. It looks pretty good, and I am very happy with how this turned out, because I had it in my head that mermaids are really hard to draw and I'm not so good at it, but I proved today that I can draw mermaids. Your boy can draw mermaids! Like, where did that come from? I feel great about myself, so there it be. Adding in the final details, and here we go. You can see my boys as mermaids, looking gorgeous. Look at all that texture, look at all those embellishments. They look amazing, and I am so proud of myself. Oh dear, I'm a bit of a mess. I haven't left the house in a while. Rightio, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I am actually really proud of this. I thought that I'd struggle with it because mermaids aren't something that I draw often, but I proved myself wrong today and I'm happy with that. So if you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Ho 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 ho! I bet you thought it was over. So did I. But I realized I forgot to add the bubbles that I wanted to put in, so I'm just gonna do that now so that y'all can see it, because I didn't want to like go behind your back and add bubbles. And there we have it. Now we have bubbles. Now I can rest easy knowing that you saw me put the bubbles in. Alright, bye!